Hi guys, it's Drea. I'm going to do ranking my drugstore eyeshadow palettes today. I did this with my highlighters already. I really love this trend of ranking makeup. I think it's a good way to kind of figure out the stuff that's your favorite and what you should be giving more attention to, and possibly the things that you should be getting out of your collection. But I'm doing it a little bit differently than most people I've seen, which is I'm actually going through the ranking process, like the thinking process with you. So instead of me telling you what I've already determined to be my favorites, we're gonna figure it all out together. So I will link to the highlighter one if you haven't seen that. But these are all my drugstore palettes. When I say drugstore, I'm including things like ColourPop and BH Cosmetics and Morphe. There's about 5 palettes that I have in my collection that I have not even used yet, that I don't think it's fair to include in here because I haven't even given them a shot yet. I was trying to figure out the best way to set this up, and you can kind of see my leg, my little foot. The way I did this with the highlighters is I started picking like my favorites first and then seeing if they could be beaten. So I think that that's what I'm gonna do. So if I had to guess what my favorite is without doing this yet, I would guess this. This is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. I absolutely love this. Every time I bring it into my everyday makeup drawer, I have a really difficult time taking it back out again. It has beautiful colors in it. So this, I think, is right at the front of the pack. I'm gonna kind of pull them in groups of what I think is gonna be favorited and then figure it out from there. These are probably up near the top for me as well. This one, I don't know if it's recency bias, but I adore this palette. This is the BH Cosmetics Hanging in Hawaii palette. You guys, the gold is gonna throw everything off. It's gonna be really hard to tell because of the gold, but these metallic shades are just amazing. They look even nicer throughout the day too, which is like a weird phenomenon. So look at these metallics in this palette. The mattes are really, really nice as well. So I've just been enjoying this so much. So I'm gonna put that as number 2. There won't be enough room to like spread them all out. I love the Yes Please palette from ColourPop. It's so nice. These colors are just amazing. I know it looks super dirty, but that's just because it gets used so much. This is in my everyday makeup drawer at the moment, and I love the mattes in here as well. They just make some really nice warm looks. I think that's gonna go number 3 for now. And then if I had to pick between these two, I think maybe this one goes next. The top of this is actually broken off, but this is the Foilized 28 color eyeshadow palette from BH. I just bought this on a whim years ago at Winners, and I think I probably paid $10 or less. These are my 2 favorite shades in the palette. I absolutely love those colors, but look at they're foiled eyeshadows, right? But this is the palette that made me fall in love with BH, and they really are tied with ColourPop for like my favorite eyeshadow formula out of everything, not just drugstore. Love BH and ColourPop the most of everything. So this is gonna go next. Now I'm not sure about this one, the Emily Edit, the Wants. I really love it. I really love the colors in here. I really love a lot of the quality of it. Some of the quality of it is not good, like these 2 shades here are not good at all. But the greens, for example, are great. Some of these like burgundy-ish colors, like these and that, like they're amazing. And some of the mattes are really good. Like this Midwest shade is kind of like a go-to shade, and I've used it so many times. So I really, really like this. This could possibly get beat out by something else though, so I'm just gonna put that right now at number 5. Okay, these are both my ColourPop, well, it's hard to say. There's ColourPop MAC and Makeup Geek and a couple Anastasia in here. So, but most of this, like the far majority of my single shadows are ColourPop shadows. So I recently reorganized these palettes, and you can actually see that video on this channel. But these are the ones that I have determined that I will use the most and love the most. So obviously this will go ahead of this one. But in terms of like including these with drugstore palettes, I figured I would. Maybe it's unfair, I don't know, but I figured I would. So I think this palette probably Oh, I just stuck my finger in that shade. This palette goes ahead of the Emily Edit, I would say, definitely. And then this one, because it's not my favorite shades, I do still love the quality of all of these. But yeah, I would put this a little bit further down the line just because they're not my favorites. So let's put that one there for now. Okay, these are a bunch of ColourPop and BH. Well, first of all, I think this one, the Zodiac palette, definitely goes ahead of the Emily Edit for me, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. This palette is incredible. So this is the original Zodiac. These baked shadows on the outside are just beautiful. Like really stunning colors, and they're just great quality again, super amazing. The mattes are beautiful as well. They blend really, really nicely. Perhaps a little powdery, but definitely great. So this one definitely goes ahead. I would say ahead of these two for sure. I'm gonna put it ahead of this one too, only because the Foil Eyes doesn't have any mattes at all. And so for complete eye looks, I definitely reach for this one first. So I'll put that one there. This is the second Zodiac palette, the Zodiac Love Signs. And I love this too. I think the color story in here, I might even like a little bit more than the original Zodiac, just because it's a little bit warmer. It does have some cool tones in it, but I think it's just a little bit warmer. It's just a little bit brighter when you look at it. It's not as dark. And again, like everything is super gorgeous. Like beautiful, beautiful metallics. These baked shadows are just gorgeous, and the mattes are just as nice in quality. The only thing is I haven't used this as much as the original. I really wish I have paid more attention to this because I really do want to. But I think I'm gonna put it behind the Emily Edit for now. Like, you know, this can evolve and change over time, but just because I haven't used it as much, so I'm gonna put that there. So all these ColourPop palettes, we have It's My Pleasure, we have the Perception, that's the Shayla collab. We have the Through My Eyes, that's the I Love Sarah E collab, and then the Ooh La La palette, which is this one. So, if I had to say, yeah, I think these two in particular, I would put ahead of the Emily Edit, actually. Oh, would I though? Yes, I think so. I think I'm reevaluating the Emily Edit as we go, just because, like I said, there's a lot of great stuff in it, which is why I love it. But overall, I think the quality of something like these is better. So I'm gonna put those ahead, and I think this is the right order. I think Perception for me goes a little bit ahead of Through My Eyes, even though I love them both. And then these guys, I really have not used these that much, to tell you the honest truth. I've done tutorials on my Instagram, definitely with this one. I don't know if I've done this one yet. I do really, really like both of these though, but I just haven't used them as much. If I had to pick which one goes first, probably the purple. And I would put them behind the Love Signs palette because similar, I haven't really used them as much as Love Signs, but, and when I say I haven't used them as much, like I've used them enough to know my opinion on them, but I haven't used them that much. I'm gonna put them ahead of that Z palette, but behind Love Signs. Okay, here's the next four I'm gonna try to figure out. I think all of these for me go behind everything here. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying that. The Take Me to Brazil is the original Take Me to Brazil palette from BH. This is all matte, very like rainbowy pigmented colors. I did use this. I used a couple of these wet when I did a Stranger Things look, and it really did kind of wreck those shadows, but I did it in the corner. So anyways, I've used these in an Instagram tutorial together, and because this one, the Take Me Back to Brazil Rio edition, I don't know if I need to keep this. I'm gonna keep it. This is all shimmer. So now we have an all matte and all shimmer Brazil palette, which they work really well in conjunction together, but on their own, like I don't think I love each one of these just by itself. But like some of these shades in here. And also the thing I don't love about these palettes is the, I keep getting hairs from this thing that I'm putting it on. I don't love that these pans are so tiny, but like, look at that purple, you know? And I use this green, really heavily packed on the lid on over top of a glitter glue, and it was so beautiful. Like, these are really nice and super affordable. They just kind of re-released a collection with some other stuff with this. So I do like these, I just don't use them a ton. And I think I would definitely put the shimmer ahead of the matte, although it's kind of like, take your pick. But I'm gonna put them, so we're gonna like go best to worst, best to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put them here next, and then these ones, this is kind of tough. There's a picture that I did with this. This is the ColourPop I Think I Love You palette. This is the first ColourPop pressed eyeshadow palette that I ever purchased, and actually Alex ended up buying it for me, even though I was going to pay her to ship it to me, but that was the first package she ever sent me, by the way. Anyways, I did a look with this on my Instagram and in a video, and every time I look at that picture, I'm like, oh man, I would love to recreate that eye look because it was beautiful. But then I never reach for this. Like, I can't even tell you the last time I pulled this out of my collection. But, oh, goodness me. Why don't I? Why don't I? Okay. How do you guys feel about me putting things that I haven't used in a super long time ahead of other things when I'm really not like I haven't used it, but like I want to put this here now because that is gorgeous, but I don't use it that often. But you know what? I'm gonna do that because I actually need to. Those shadows just blew me away all over again. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette. I do not like this formula very much. There's a couple shadows in here that I like, and there's a majority of them that I do not like. I think that they don't blend very well, especially these two. They blend away, or wait, no, maybe not that one. This one and this one. They blend away really easily. And then this shade Ballsy, this shade Bling Bling, they're a really weird, like too thick and silicone-y of a formula that it's really hard to like pick them up and put them down on your eye. They just don't work very well. The only thing I really love about this palette, like really love, is this shade, which is Gem. And I did this all over the lid when I first got it, and it was really beautiful. So that's really the only thing I love about this palette. So I'm gonna put this way down at the end at the moment because I have a feeling there's some things that'll go ahead of it. I'm just gonna move this up so we have a little room here to talk about these. These palettes get forgotten about a lot, well, with the exception of the Jaclyn Hill one. But I think they're all really good. Like this Clara Cosmetics palette, this I picked up in Winners, like before anybody had ever heard of Clara Cosmetics. And I think that they're still a very like unheard of brand. I don't even know if they still exist, to tell you the truth, but I found this, and I've seen lots of Clara Cosmetics stuff in Winners, which if you don't know what I'm talking about is basically TJ Maxx. But like, look at those metallics. They're really beautiful. The mattes build up really well. That orange, as you can tell, is really nice. The burgundy maybe is a little bit lighter, but it builds up really nicely. So I really do love this. The only reason I don't use this a lot is because I have the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, and I think that one has very, very similar tones. I don't think I said what this was, and it doesn't even have it on here. This is the Desert... Man, now I can't think of it. I'm gonna have to put it on the screen because it doesn't say on here. It's like the Desert something palette, I think. Anyway, I do like this. I just don't use it a lot, and honestly, even though I really, really love these, I feel like eventually this might get decluttered just because I have other things quite similar to it. But for me, I think this goes definitely ahead of the Morphe Bling Boss palette, but definitely behind these guys. So I'm gonna put it here for now. Here's the Royal Affair from BH. I actually got this for free with an order at one point in time. I like the quality of all of these. The colors don't scream to me. I think it's actually a really strange color story because it's like a bunch of neutrals, but then you have like a really nice pretty matte pink, but then you have these weird like greenish colors like this one, like these. They're really weird. So individually, I think all of these shades are nice and work out really nicely, but nothing about this screams royalty to me either. So I don't know. I did do a tutorial with this on Instagram as well. I'm gonna put this ahead of the Bling Boss, but behind the Clara. This is the Nouveau Neutrals from BH. This is actually really, really nice. I don't use it very much, mainly because I think big palettes like this just take up so much room in my drawer, and I don't love that. But these are really gorgeous. I think I used these in like a pumpkin spice look or something at one point in time, and it was really gorgeous. Like, they're really super nice. If you can find this, well, you can order it off their website, but you can also find these type of palettes a lot of the time in like Marshalls or TJ Maxx, whatever. So I would say go for it. But for this one, I just don't use it very much. It's all very one note as well. You know what, I need to use this like 1 or 2 more times and decide eventually if I want to declutter it, but that's not what we're doing right now. I'm gonna put this behind Royal Fair, but ahead of the Bling Boss. Why am I getting so hungry? Getting hungry. Modern Mattes 28 color eyeshadow palette. Again, from BH, really nice quality, but I don't use it very much. It's kind of like the matte version of the foil eyeshadow palette, but like they're super pretty. Like all these, they're pretty good quality. Maybe not like the best, but they're pretty good quality. They can be built up. When you compare swatches like this to something like ColourPop or some of the newer BH mattes, like these don't stand up to it, but these can still be built up. So I don't hate this, I just don't reach for it very much, and I, to tell you the truth, don't really like to do all matte looks anyway. This has been in my everyday makeup drawer for the past 10 days-ish, maybe longer. And I still don't know how I like it. I used this the other day for a really interesting look where I used this shade and this matte green, and then I used a blue pigment, and that might sound kind of weird, like a weird color combination, but I got a lot of compliments on it and it looked really good. I just don't know, that I love the formula of these, especially again, like these type of shades. See how it's kind of already getting like, it seems like it, sorry, I don't know if it was in frame. See how it looks like it's getting hard pan on it? Like, I don't like that about this formula from these Morphe palettes. They're really, it's almost like a stiff metallic, if that makes sense. I don't know. That looks nice, but that, you know, that's a heavy swatch on my hand with a lot of pressure. That's not really how they apply on the lid. But then again, there's like a lot of shades on here I haven't even used. I don't think I've used any of these yet. The mattes are fine. I like this, I think, more than the Clara, because I have been using it more and I have liked a few looks I got out of it. Yeah, I like it better than the Clara and the Royal Fair. I like it better. Definitely like it better than Bling Boss, for sure. But I'm not sold. Like, you see, it's not anywhere near the front of my favorites. And then this, did I even say where I was gonna put this yet? I think this goes here, because the neutrals, like, if those are palettes I don't really use, but I still like it more than the neutral palette. See, the favorites are pretty easy. It's once we get down to the nitty gritty, it's kind of like, where do these things fit? It's a little bit more difficult. Okay, this is the last of it, this little pile right here. 1, 2, 3. These 3 Alex gave me. So she didn't like this one. And actually when she sent this to me, it came kind of smashed up. These are all like kind of squished and falling out. Not her fault, but I just thought I'd mention it. This is the Magnifies Electric Violet from Rimmel. I did do an Instagram tutorial with this and I actually really liked the way it turned out. The quality isn't the greatest. I feel like I got an interesting look out of it, but like, she's right, the quality is not the greatest. Like, if you look at the pigmentation, it's really not there. So, but I did really like the look I got out of it. So, I don't know. I think probably this can go like here, maybe? Yeah, I think if I was gonna reach for something, I think I would reach for it before the Modern Mattes, which is fine. Okay, this I've had for a long time. I love this. This is the Mulberry from the Academy of Color 9-shade palette. I think you can get these at Kohl's in the States, and I think you can get them on Amazon if I remember right. But yeah, the quality of these is actually super nice. Like these mattes in here are really nice. This is more like a cool tone purple palette. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. All purple is cool tone, but it's more like a muted, that's a better way to say it. A muted palette. So there you go. There's some swatches from that one. I feel like for purple palettes, it's more of a berry purple palette, and it's more of a muted purple palette, not like bright electric purples, not like that It's My Pleasure palette, for example. But I really, every time I use this, I really like the looks that I get. So I'm gonna put this definitely ahead of Jaclyn Hill. Yeah, I'm gonna put it ahead of Jaclyn Hill, but not ahead of those. Okay, here's the Makeup Revolution Fortune Favors the Brave. I remember the picture of this was going around Facebook when these first came out, and people were going crazy. Why can't I open this? I remember people were going crazy for the picture of this, but the picture makes it seem like it's a huge palette and that these are all really big pans. Like in reality, they're the size of a dime. Like it's as wide as my hand. So it's just funny because I feel like everybody expected that it was a lot bigger. So these pans are tiny, and that makes it a little bit difficult to get use out of it. But I did use this a couple times this winter, and I think it really is like a wintry palette, all these shades. Their Makeup Revolution, I think their older formula like these is not as good as the newer formula that you're gonna get in something like the Emily palette, and still a lot of people don't like that formula either. Like I said, for me it's kind of hit and miss all in one palette, but I still like it. Anyways, am I gonna use this over most of these palettes or even like over my high-end palettes? Probably not. I think it has some good shades in it though, but for me this goes like pretty far back. I would put it, yeah, I would put this kind of in last place at the moment. It's just, it's not terrible. It's just not something that I reach for because of the darkness of it. This one is gonna be tough because this is so new and I've really only used it like twice. This is the Pixi by Petra Hello English Rose. And I just don't know how I feel about this formula yet. It was super, super powdery when I used it. Like even the metallic shades are super powdery. Like these shades here, I don't know if you can tell, they're kind of really powdery, even the metallics. And I just don't know that I love this. These, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be highlighters. I think they are. And a blush maybe, because they're a little bit bigger. But they're still like very kind of choppy and powdery. I don't love it. This formula, I think, puts this really far in last place. Yeah, that's kind of, I never would have expected that this would go to last place for me, but it kind of is, just because that formula, I really don't like it. This is where we are, very last palette. This is the ColourPop My Little Pony palette. I think this is gonna get decluttered next time I do a declutter. Do I like it? Yeah. Do I love it? No. This shade I think is okay for like transition, but it's super powdery. Some of the mattes are nice, like it's still ColourPop formula, and I think the mattes are still pretty nice. They're not like the best they've ever done. Some of these metallics are gorgeous. Like the purple I think is really nice. It's kind of got a little bit of hard pan-ish going on, and this silver is gorgeous too. But the purple I would use, the silver, it's just not the kind of thing I put on my face, but it's nice. Like look at it. So to me, I would put this, like which one would I use more in the end? I think it goes after this. Maybe maybe it goes like ahead of the Rimmel. So like maybe there. All right, so that is it. So do we want a little recap? I think it'd be nice. So I'm just gonna kind of put them all together so it's easier to go through. So the Pixie Hello English Rose is my last place palette. The Revolution Fortune Favors the Brave. Then Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette. Then we have the Nouveau Neutrals from BH. The 28 color Modern Mattes from BH. Then the Rimmel Magnifies Electric Violet edition. The My Little Pony from ColourPop, the Royal Affair from BH, then the Clara Cosmetics Undetermined Name palette, which I think is called Desert something or other, Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, then the Academy of Color Mulberry palette, then the BH Take Me to Brazil OG and the Take Me to Brazil Rio edition, and then the ColourPop I Think I Love You. Then my secondary ColourPop single palette, the Ooh La La palette, the It's My Pleasure palette, then the Zodiac Love Signs from BH, then the Emily edit from Makeup Revolution, the ColourPop Through My Eyes palette, and the ColourPop Perception palette. Then my primary Z palette with my mostly ColourPop singles, the Foil Eyes from BH, the Zodiac from BH, then the Yes Please palette from ColourPop, and then Hanging in Hawaii from BH, and the Weekend Festival palette. So just some thoughts, like, you know, I pulled this one first and said this is probably my favorite, and nothing did end up beating it. So yeah, this is my favorite palette ever out of everything, I think, everything I own. This I could see, like, I love this. I could see maybe there being some movement over time in this area just because of, like, you know, things that you start using more and loving more. There could be some movement over time. And I think when I do my eyeshadow palette declutter, which I am really wanting to do soon because I just have realized I have way too much, I could see a lot of this going. So that is it for ranking my drugstore palettes. I think I'm gonna do my high-end palettes too. If you want to see that, definitely let me know in the comments and give this a thumbs up. That's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know which one is your favorite and if I am missing anything amazing from my drugstore palette collection. And I hope you're having a great day. I will see you in my next video.